Hey everybody, Adam Savage and an Ewok and Stephen Lane. Hello, sir.
I love the fact I get introduced after the Ewok.
It seemed appropriate.
Okay, all right, we'll go with it.
I am in Stephen's office at Propstore in London, and we are talking today about this beautiful thing. This is part of your private collection.
It is, yeah. I mean, this came to me back in about 2004 when I was working with Stuart and Freeborn and their collection. And at that particular time, they were still living amazingly in the house that they'd been living in when they did Star Wars and when they worked on all these great films. It was a 3-story house. It had all these workshops and sheds in their back garden. And they'd sort of got to the point, I think Stuart, when I first met him, was in his late 80s or maybe just approaching 90. Yeah. And he called me up one day. I'd been introduced to him by Cliff Wallace, Creature Effects. And he said, I've got some stuff and we're going to be moving house very soon. Can you come and see me? So I went down to see him. And he sort of gave me a small tour of his workshops, out in his garden. Yeah. And he said, well, can you take some stuff away with you today? And so I took a little wheelbarrow of moulds away with me. And he said, can you come back next week? Because we've got to move house. And my kids, they're just not interested anymore in what I'm doing, Because, the kids were all grown up. They were and it was a major challenge to try and do anything with that collection. And that's really how it started. And we were there for months on end, clearing this house and literally worked right the way through his house, right the way to the top, to the attic. And he used to work a lot in the attic, actually. He'd taken out a lot of the tiles in the roof and put skylights into it. So that when he was painting eyes and sort of really fine detailed stuff,
he had the best light.
He had the best light right above him. And so, we found some astonishing items during that period. When I reflect back on it now, I wish I'd gone in and documented everything and photographed and catalogued and sort of retained it all in a certain way. And we did some great things with it. We called a lot of effects people in, creature effects people in, said, do you want some brushes, some tools, things like that, things that we just couldn't do anything with.
Right.
The greatest find there was Chewbacca's head, which was a monumental moment. I think I've told you the story before. Yeah. Most of that has now gone in the collection. Here we are 20 years later. This is my business. I have to pay the bills. I can't keep everything I want. This is the one little creature that I've managed to keep from that moment in time, and so it's pretty special to me. And of course, it's a baby Ewok. It's a puppet Ewok.
So it is an actual working puppet.
It is a proper working puppet. So I think if we just pick him up very carefully there off the stand and just maybe if I just turn him around, I'll bring him back. But let's turn it. Yeah.
Oh, he looked at me.
I'm going to show you an Ewok's bum.
Oh my goodness, great! Wait! I got to get my bum light. Hold on, I get my flashlight out. Oh, look at that!
Yeah. So as you can see, it's
all
with
there. The eyes. Look at that, the smoked acrylic eyes.
Yes, smoked acrylic eye. But I mean, actually, I've never ever put my hand up inside here. But you can see the aperture in there is quite tight,
it's quite
isn't it?
small, and I can see that it's latex, which is, as you well know, a super volatile material.
Yeah, it is. And this fellow does actually appear on screen.
Screen matched him.
I'll hold him like this. Shall I rock him gently?
Yeah, by all means, smile.
This is, you see this little fellow on screen, and it's the sequence in Return of the Jedi, essentially when C-3PO is regaling the tale of the battles and the fight with the Empire, and he's doing all the sound effects, and they have the Ewoks all around the campfire, and this little guy is just in the background there, sort of bumping away. So it's absolutely screen match. What's fascinating to me, actually, this has actually been on loan to Pinewood Studios. We've had it there for over a year now, and it's in a darkened corridor with no natural light whatsoever. But I really feel, just over that period of time, it came back in, especially for you guys yesterday, but I feel that this has slightly changed in colour. And
lighter, really?
Yeah, and it's fascinating because it's in a UV filtered
I was going to say.
case.
Yeah.
And then there's no natural light into that area at all. But, one of the things that we're always very considerate of course, with foam latex items is just degradation that might take place over time.
Do you have it sounds to me like you almost want anything that leaves is going to get a specific color temperature photo taken with a reference so that you can compare it when it comes home.
Yeah, and look, we're sort of entering the realms of archival preservation, aren't you, when you start to look at that? And
with materials so not meant for that as to be almost hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and I think there has to be that balance between, do we want it out there for people to see and people to enjoy and people to experience, and not just have it in a darkened archival box wrapped in tissue that's, it's never going to see the light of day. I mean, look at the age of this thing now, that many decades later, and actually the foam is still pretty good. We've had the toes looked at a couple of times and touched in. They've gone pretty hard now. They're pretty firm.
Look at their disgusting little nails. I love it.
Let's talk about disgusting Ewok nails.
Well, famously, George was hoping for Return of the Jedi to visit a planet of Wookiees. And my assumption has always been that they couldn't afford to make that many Wookiee costumes, so he's like, all right, let's make Ewoks, and we'll make them a little simpler. Right. But Ewok and Wookiee are, I guess, homonymic reverses of each other. There's got to be a term for that part of speech. This I will tell you, my wife hates Ewoks.
Oh, really?
Loves Wookiees, hates Ewoks. And my kids used to make that, they spoke the Ewok, they would do it just to annoy her.
You got to show her a photo of this, because this is cute.
She does not want me to, no.
Sounds more like a phobia, an Ewok phobia.
It might be a phobia.
Scared of Ewoks.
Does he have blinking eyes, or is his only movement?
No, I think it's just very, very subtle. And I think a lot of that, I think there's been a lot of commentary over the years just about how simple the Ewok builds were. Because the majority of them didn't have blinking eyes. I think maybe only one or two, if any, really had any sort of animatronics that were practical within them. And so it's just a simple hand puppet, worked very well for the sequence it was required for. It's probably, from a build perspective, not too complicated. If we go back to it again. Is
the wire here the rod for the hands?
Yes, I think it must be.
I think it must be.
It's always been attached to it.
That feels like that's exactly what that should be. And this is just mattress foam, like the Muppets are built.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, again, very fast and just sort of this faux fur that, in fact, when we were clearing Stuart's house, we just had bags of offcuts of Ewok fur from all the suits and all the different colours, and he had swatch books and everything.
We had to shave over 300 Ewoks. It's also, again, within the such insane prodigious storytelling of Lucasfilm, for this to be this beautiful 40 plus years later.
Yes.
40 plus years later is astounding.
Yes.
Because there's so little deterioration considering how delicate these materials are.
Yeah. Obviously, for anybody who's familiar with foam latex, back when this was originally produced, this would have been very rubbery. It had a lot of flexibility to them and a lot of movement to it. And a lot of that has firmed up now over time. You're basically losing all of the moisture there. It's all sort of coming back out of it, isn't it? But thankfully, I think the hair, helps hold its form. It's gonna keep, and it's really the extremities that we're constantly looking at, and revisiting, just to make sure that they're holding it, because they're the most exposed. And
it's like puppet frostbite.
Is that a thing? Is it in your world?
I've just made it up, but I feel like it's a reasonable term for this.
Got a bit blue here,
right? The tip of his nose and the tips of his fingers. That's what goes in frostbite.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, tell the truth. Is this entire enterprise just so that you can collect some of the things that you want? I think that's a completely reasonable reason for it to exist.
Well, I mean, look, let's face it. Essentially, that's the genesis of my business, isn't it? My business was born out of my passion and love to collect, and then I had an entrepreneurial streak, a spirit where I wanted to trade.
And you get to foment that in others too. You must have collectors now that have been with you for a long time, but you got them started with collecting.
Oh, hooked!
I'm
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm often referred to as a dealer. In a nice way.
Enabler. We say enabler.
Okay. But I think a lot of other people have got on the same journey and been on the same path. But I'm very, very lucky. But also, the flip side of that, it's painful. Because I've let go of things at times where you know, I would have held on to them. I never would have sold Chewbacca's mask that I found at that time unless I had to, you know, pay the bills.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the downside. But the great thing is I get to experience it. Look, we're all only temporary custodians of these things.
I say that same thing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a custodian of this piece for a while.
For a while, yeah. And actually part of my responsibility is ensuring that they find a new home and somebody else will care in the same way that I care.
When you guys, I know museums do this, you guys must do this too, release the provenance of the piece when you sell it, like what its history
as much as we can.
Right, as much as you've researched.
A lot of it these days is around data protection, so we have to be very careful. GDPR in the UK, and it's sort of a global thing as well, General Data Protection Regulation, which means that we can't reveal any names, specific names, unless we have written permissions to do so.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, we have to navigate some of that as well, so we try and provide as much as we can.
Dude, these fingernails are really squicking me out in the best way. They're just,
you get a nail file.
They're just disgusting and just spectacular. This is like, you know, those photos people post on airplanes of disgusting things they see. Ewok feet are right there.
You want to do a close-up of this.
I totally,
and
just
post
totally.
that.
We're going to do that in
We'll
B-roll.
Yeah.
Dude, amazing. Thank you so much, Stephen, for letting me handle your baby.
It's a pleasure, man.
All right, I'm going to get her back on the stand here.
There we go. It's just
There we go.
There we go.
And bring this back over here.
And then the rod goes back up. Yep, that's it. We got it.
Stephen, thank you so much for bringing me into your private collection. I love, you know, off camera, you and I are just there like telling all the things we've achieved recently, bought recently, found, et cetera, et cetera. It's a
fun hobby, man.
It's a habit. It's a pathology.
It is. For sure.
Thank you, my friend.
Pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. We have some brand new merch available at the store. A dog's age ago, I mean like 2018, 2019, this wonderful graphic designer named Brian Otterer reached out to us and sent us some stickers. He has a design firm called Dash 3 Dots, and we loved his stickers so much we wanted to sell them on the merch store. Well, he updated them with our new logo, and we've got Adam in the Martian spacesuit sticker. We've got Adam in the shuttle suit sticker. We've got Adam in the Apollo suit sticker. And my personal favorite, Adam in the alien spacesuit sticker. Get yours now, tested-store.com. Hey!